Howdy, yo, and welcome to Rauta's monthly stream. It seems a little bit late here. Once again, obviously, was supposed to start it a little bit earlier, but time flies when having fun and all that stuff. Now, this time I have beer from Mallassepät, who were happy enough to promote me with some beer, provided beers are by Mallassepät. I actually put three ones in the outside of the man cave cabin to cool down, and these were actually picked blindly by my daughter. I told pick three beers. Actually, I said two, but she insisted three beers. I'm like, all right, I can drink three beers, and I just gave her one tip: do not pick two of the same. So it's gonna be a variety of beers. And when she was picking up the beers, I had like three different sours. I happen to love sours, and the box I got from Mallassepät is actually 24. So I picked like two beers each, so 12 different kind of beers. Lots of different kind of sours, which in my opinion are the forte, the best of what Mallassepät do. But however, I wanted my daughter like give me something else, not such sour beers. Obviously, she doesn't understand anything about beers, so it's just like basically me saying that don't pick three different Slayer albums. Give me something else. Two Slayers at maximum. So I got two sours and one surprise beer, which I'm going to show you as we progress through the stream. So the first one is a tropical three-way fruited sour. And as you can see here, chili, mango, passion fruit, milk sugar, and mixed fermentation. This is the Mallassepät logo. As you can see, there is this blacksmith pounding some malt. Well, technically speaking, Mallassepät means malt smith. So it's a little bit of a wordplay. A smith doing his work in the craft beer section. So crafting the beer, being the beer crafter. Anyhow, so this is what we're gonna drink today as a first beer. Why beer is so important to me on Rauta? Because I fucking love beer. It's not so important to get drunk. Obviously, getting drunk is a secondary mission. I'm not planning to get drunk here. Tipsy at max, and it seems I'm already spilling beer on my keyboard. Happens to the best of us. But beer is so delicious, and it would feel weird to drink, coffee 10 a.m. in the evening time and all. So beer it has to be, beer or whiskey. But since this beer is provided, sponsored by Mallassepät, that's what I'm going to have here. Unfortunately, I don't have Mallassepät glass. As you can see, this looks like a exotic, fruit drink. Almost like you're having a glass of orange juice or maybe some kind of a tropical juice, whatever. Close enough. Juice with beer. No, seriously speaking, some of my favorite beers, including these kind of sour beers, they really, really look like you're having a some kind of a fruit drink, fruit punch or whatever. So goddamn delicious. I could drink these all day, every day, and then I would become an alcoholic. Jokes aside, and drink on the side. Obviously, it's December, probably the last stream of the year for Rauta. And while I don't have any big announcements this time, I will have some news for you. And obviously, I'm going to answer your questions. The questions can be about everything. So it's basically ask me anything. It can be about a Rauta channel. It can be about music. It can be about Mallassepät beers, my favorite games, movies, TV series, meaning of life, relationship advice. There are no boundaries what you cannot ask. If something I am not happy with, or whatever, I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna answer that. Like for instance, no, there is no instance, but yeah, you get the idea. But if you're gonna ask me something, make sure that much like Gyro Lamp there or Rodden Punks 999, tag me for a guaranteed answer because when you tag me at Rauta, they will be highlighted on my chat window, which is right here on the right side of my screen. So when you tag me, I will be instantly, okay, this person has an interesting question coming up or some comment, and I will instantaneously get to read that. I will read other comments more or less, but these are the ones that get my attention. And also, if you want to support a Rauta channel, meaning future trips to various festivals, meaning more interviews and all that stuff, you can either support by PayPal or becoming a Rauta Patreon supporter, or then you can just say, send me thumbs and thoughts and prayers, and let's hope that will take us to a trip. But first, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for being a supporter, commentator, follower, viewer, random hater of the channel, or me, whatever gives you the kicks. Obviously, the main thing with Rauta, as always, is to be part of metal music. I don't want to be an over social person saying, like, yeah, it's a great community we have here. I think we do have that good community. But then again, I don't expect people to like me or what I talk about. Maybe I'm just an annoying prick coming from Finland, and you want to see how stupid I am going to get today while drinking beers and answering your questions. Obviously, my aim is to be friendly and helpful guy and hopefully get to answer some of your smart questions and all, but I can't guarantee it. Maybe I'm just too obnoxious, too annoying, and too stupid person to do the right thing. But at least I'm trying. Gotta be worth something. Jokes and wise words aside, once again, thank you so much for being part of the stream. And now it's time to read your comments. First of all, Brian Mons from Canada is here, the first one to comment. So, Brian Mons, welcome and nice to see you here. DZB is also going to grab a beer. That's a great idea. So, yeah, good to have a beer here. And what else? Lamp is already asking the hot question. After I made the Satanic Warmaster retrospective without knowing there would be a new Satanic Warmaster, it was a pure nice coincidence that I get to speak the whole, Satanic Warmaster career so far, 25 years and more. And suddenly, boom, a week later than my retrospective video, which was way more successful than I was hoping for, a news line drop, and hey, there it is, new Satanic Warmaster coming out. Now it's been out, and obviously people have been listening to it in YouTube. I've already gotten a few comments how I've been listening to it. The simple answer is no. Now, Satanic Warmaster himself, Werewolf, contacted me. I think it was Thursday, asking me like, "Hey, can I advertise or mention the new album on Rauta?" It's like, man, it's been already been out there for a day or two already on Rauta Discord. I mean, pretty much as soon as the news came out, people were spreading it on Rauta Discord and mentioning it. Here it is, you get to listen. So already, community, it's doing its job as far as I'm concerned. And I told SW the RSW that I could gladly review it and talk about it. That would be the best way to promote it rather than just me mentioning it on the channel or Rauta's Facebook page. So I'm waiting for the physical copy to arrive. First of all, I'm not a big fan of listening to music on YouTube for various reasons. I will explain if you want me to. And secondly, I'm already hands full with the other, reviewable material and also other content for future retrospective. At the moment, for example, I'm doing an Oceans retrospective that will be followed by Sargeist, Horna, and so on later on. So I hope Werewolf has been is going to be sending or has sent the CD already, and if that CD arrives here, obviously I will review it ASAP. So I haven't yet listened to it, and I won't comment the music yet so far. I've gotten some notes of people saying this and that about the album, but I am very, very much stoked about it for various reasons. So let's hope it's going to be a good one. And I'm going to unbox it should the CD come here this way. Hello, Motshibi. Nice to have you here as well. Hello, Rotten Bugs again. Nice to have you. Something from United States. Yes, Fredo, I'm going to say this beer is as delicious as it looks like. So far, I would say roughly 5 out of 5. Scum Christ saying like loving beer too much, but being sober 4 years. Or now, obviously, you can be sober and still enjoy a drink. And I don't even mean non-alcoholic beers. Just do what I do every now and then when I take my car and go to drive to a local gig. I just have one beer and that's it. So can't drink without being under influence, so to say. Brian Mons has a great question, which I'm going to answer right away. Have I prepared my top 10 of 24 for this year? Mostly. I actually start keeping notes of possible contenders for top 10 or whatever since already in January. Otherwise, I would totally forget. So whenever I get an album, 8 out of 10 or better, I will add it to my list in a respective section. Say 9 out of here goes here, 8 out of 10 goes here, 8.5 or whatever goes there. So I keep a list of those contenders, and when December is getting close to January, I started listening them, like re-listening them, because obviously at this point I would say it would be kind of unfair to rank the albums which came already out like February and now put them in any order without giving them a new listen. So I will basically rough to take about top 15 or whatever, the best ones I have already put in my list. Then I will re-listen to and then like figure it out. Would this be better than this one? So if this one is a little bit better than this one, but these are neither, top five, maybe this is number 8, this is number 7, then I go 6, 5, you get the idea. So yeah, I have roughly about top 15 right now figured out, and I will obviously listen to them all. Maybe it's actually top 20, and I will list all of those contenders in the description, but I will only mention the final order of my top 10 list with the video coming out, but don't expect it until January 1st. The reason is this: I hate when people do their top 10 lists of any given year already November or early December. And now this new Satanic War Master is a fucking prime example why you don't do top 10 lists of any given year until the year is over. People are like, okay, I already got my top 10 lists. It's January 2nd. And then a couple of weeks later, Satan War Master is here. Fuck you, top 10 lists. I'm going to fuck you over with that. And people are like, yeah, but I don't even care about the band. Fuck you still. I mean, the point here is you wait until the very end of the year and then you do your list. This is not a competition who gets out the top 10 list first. Because if it was a competition like that, you could do it in a fucking tune and say, okay, this is top 10 for year 2024. I don't give a fuck about the rest of the 6 months. Or September for that matter. The point is, you wait until the game is over. It's like a fucking sports competition. You wait until the last fucking second. You don't say the score or whatever the thing is until it's finally over, because things might have a surprise moment. They might change. So there's that, but still already figured out most it. And I'm expecting SW to actually manage to go up to top 10. That is very, very likely. But it's also possible that it isn't that good, but who knows? All right. Next question is by, okay, cannot really pronounce this because to me it looks like a symbol of lightning or S. But anyway, I will read this question. You have probably went through this question a million times, but what are your favorite bands? Let's say top 5. No, nobody actually never asks like top 5 of my favorite bands. It's usually what is your favorite band or favorite number 2. So top 5 is really, really cool for me to answer. Obviously, I love talking about my favorite bands. There's no better topic than my favorite bands, except we're talking about, I don't know, beer, workout, and sex. Slayer is definitely one of my big loves of all times. This dates obviously back to the 1990s. So Slayer is my favorite thrash metal band. Now, when it comes to death metal, Death would be my number 1. So there you have like roughly top 2. If we're talking about heavy metal, Wasp is my favorite heavy metal band. And this dates as early as 1980s when I was a kid. But still, it has been the band that has been coming and going out with me about almost 40 years. Not exactly. I wasn't really listening to Wasp when I was like, I don't know, 7, but maybe around 10 or so. So almost 40 years, or yeah, give or take. Um, so these would be at least in top three. Now, because I love Dark Throne, I mean, not the past 15 years or so much, but still, in my opinion, all time best black metal would be Dark Throne. So yeah, that would be also in top four. Now, this is not about like select one band per given genre. It's just coincidence that I have like one death metal band, one black metal band, one heavy metal band, and so on. But the number five, then it gets more, I don't know, confusing because then I'm thinking about I really fucking love Bolt Thrower. So Bolt Thrower is my second favorite death metal band. So I'm thinking maybe it could be that one. Then again, I am a sucker for a lot of Paradise Lost material, which would be of again a different genre than anything of those four. Um, I actually do like a lot of Rammstein, especially the so-called middle era. But I don't know if that would really go to top five. I have a soft spot for some suicidal tendencies albums. Like there's one album which is 10 out of 10. But I don't know. That is not good enough overall to go in my top five. So I'm like, what the hell could it really be? Pink Floyd has some great stuff. Um, Maybe I should name Bolt Thrower. Maybe I should put it. Then again, I grew up with Metallica, really. So early Metallica albums are so fucking great. But then again, most of Metallica isn't that good. I'm more like the four albums, the four first albums, really fucking nailing it. But anything after that, with the exception of Black Album, which is actually good, I'm not. Oh, maybe not. So, for the lack of better answer, we just, I guess, have to finish at some point. I would say Slayer, Death, Dark Throne, Wasp, and maybe Bolt Thrower. But let's leave that number five like a little bit like it could change on the date, or maybe because now I'm going through my record collection once again. I'm still in the letter D with Destroyer 666 and all. Um, it's hard to tell if I really like figure out how come I forgot that band from top five. So take it as you will with a grain of salt and all, but good question, really, and hard to give you a 100% solid answer. This is the best I could do. Um. All right. Hello, Stolen Vinyl. Welcome to the stream. Motibi is asking what I'm doing or how I'm spending New Year's Eve. Probably it's going to be something like family driven. I don't know. Maybe I'm listening to albums. No, not really. I mean, it used to be New Year's Eve used to be drinking with friends, going to see some fireworks and shit. But nowadays, that's not really so relevant. Everybody's older. Nobody wants to go out when it's cold and fucking dark. I mean, not the darkness that bothers us, but imagine Finland, the 1st of January or the last of December. It's usually fucking freezing. It's cold, moist. What the fuck? Nobody wants to go out. So it's people usually getting just wasted. That is not so appealing to me anymore. So most likely, which will be just eating well at home and all that stuff. So pretty basic. Thank you, Brian Mons, for your donation. Much appreciated. So thank you for this, what as you called, Christmas gift from Santa. So Naughty Boy saying thank you, Brian. This is really a big thing always. I will once again talk about how the money is being spent in case you're wondering why the fuck anyone wants to donate any kind of a money. No, the money is not spent on beers. Like I said, I got this beer for being a nice guy or naughty guy for that matter. So it's not like I even have to buy this beer meant for streams. They get the visibility and me mentioning the beers. This Mallassepät, if you're wondering what the hell I'm drinking. But yeah, the beers are free in that sense. And since I get most albums for free, for review and all, it's not like I'm spending my money on CDs either. So what I'm spending, my money on hookers, obviously. That's a joke, free people. But yeah. Can I explain it later on? So yeah, any no particular plans for New Year's Eve at this point, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe things will change. Maybe I will get wasted and find myself, waking up in bed with Megan Fox or something. It's totally possible. Or maybe I will be, snorting coke with Johnny Depp and whatever. Um, Hello, Ali from New York City. Nice to have people from New York City, one of my favorite places on earth. Been in New York City 3 times, and I wish I could go back. Would be so awesome to see some metal gig in New York City, and get the vibe from the city in that sense. I've been only a tourist in New York City, but always good times there. So nice that New York City is presented here. Hello, Cecilia Taylor, checking in. Welcome once again. And yeah, people have been already been playing that, so saying that new Satanic Warmaster is sounding like tribute to Judas Iscariot, which is my favorite USB band. So cannot really bitch about it. I really hope it's really that. Sadistic Vitamin is asking, do I have or will have a Christmas tree? Actually, we do have, because I have a daughter, and kids love Christmas in Finland too. So there will be Christmas presents and shit like that. I was actually doing Christmas present shopping today, which is something that I cannot say I hate it, but I don't fucking love it. I dislike shopping, but you have to bring some gifts to your parents and kids and shit. So yeah. We're gonna have a Christmas tree, plastic one, by the way, with those kind of a LED lights and shit. It's good, so we don't have to cut actual trees, even if people consider it fake because it's plastic. But I think it's better for the environment to have that one tree that will be used for many, many, many years instead of cutting a new tree every fucking year. So yeah, Christmas tradition. I'm not a big Christmas person. I mean, I used to love Christmas when I was a kid, but when I was adult, Christmas started to suck. It sucks less now when I have a kid versus when I didn't. But still, I'm not that big Christmas thing. It used to be so bleak, so depressing fucking holiday. Imagine when you're a single person in any of the Nordic countries, especially. It's the darkest day of the year, and when you pick your phone, hey, John, what do you be? Oh, he is with parents. You pick the next friend. Hey, how are you? Oh, you're with parents also. Hey, the next one. Oh, you're with your girlfriend. What about you? Oh, this one isn't even answering. And you go to the bar. At least I will find some friends in a bar. Bars are either closed or very few people. And then you realize you're a fucking loner if you have to spend Christmas, by yourself. Sorry to say it, but being there, done that, it's the most depressive season in Finland, in my opinion, if you're a single person living alone. I used to then again also enjoy those days when I was, single and, spending Christmas because I just bought food, beer. I would play video games and nobody would, even fucking speak to me all the time for myself. But it gets into you. Eventually, it goes under your skin, and then you feel like a fucking loner geek. Like you stare outside, it's dark, and like I said, if you're gonna phone someone, they're not gonna pick up, or even if they do, they just like "Merry Christmas, gotta go, bye," click. So yeah, not my favorite thing really, but hey, it is what it is. A good time for I don't know, write some black metal lyrics about depression and shit, or just darkness. And hello, Lex, in case I didn't already greet you. Um, Cecilia Taylor is saying, my favorite Finnish gentleman. That's quite overstatement. Yeah, Fredo, this could be called Agent Orange, but yeah, this beer is actually, now that you ask, tropical three-way, fruited sour with chili, mango, passion fruit, milk sugar, and mixed fermentation. I gotta say, the chili isn't that obvious in this one. It's mostly mango and passion fruit. Really tasty. Really almost like having this morning tropical fruit kind of a thing, which you would have at, hotel breakfast and all. All right, what else? Cecilia Taylor is asking once again, people, please tag me if you want to make sure that I would answer your questions. Hello, Ginger Rocks. I hope you're already all right and got their latest parcel in Sweden. Gerald was asking if I ever heard the sorry. We have this saying that when you start coughing, when you're eating or drinking something, someone is thinking something bad about you. So whoever the fucker is giving me this cough, oh, you should also die. No, seriously speaking. So Gerald was asking, have I ever heard or saw the channel Mordant Red? Uh, Black metal punk band, but guys do live streams. Okay, I haven't heard of them, but yeah, there's so many channels these days. Hello, Marcus, and good question from that Mr. Lightning, however your name is pronounced. How many tattoos do I have, and what do they mean to you, and what's my favorite? Like I said, people, I'm gonna answer these questions first, which are tagged. I'll try to show you each and everything of my tattoos, so prepare for some nudity. I don't have anything on my chest or back, but in case I want to show you some of the tattoos around my body, I probably have to, raise a little bit of sleeve. So my first tattoo is this Bullet Chaos logo, which you can see also on Annihilator's theme. This goes way back. Theoretically speaking, I was 18 or so when I figured out I want a Chaos Star to be my first tattoo. Now that went through various versions in my head. First, it was kind of like a flaming one with the star, 8 arrow star pointing into different directions. And I had a friend, actually, guy who used to play in Demigod. Take this. So this Demigod guy who was skilled in in drawing, he drew me a chaos star. It was kind of like pointing at different, how to say, different shapes and different lengths of all these 8 arrows, and they were kind of like flaming. And then there was some color added. There was kind of like a red and yellow and orange because I wanted to be flaming one, but also chaos. This my chaos theory stuff goes way back as a teenager. I could talk about chaos for a long time. So that was my first initial idea. I want to get a chaos star tattoo. Somehow it never happened, and probably wouldn't even have the money for it. So it kind of like was forgotten, but still ringing in the back of my head. So it was in my head for a long time. But suddenly I was in my 30s. I don't even remember which year I had the tattoo finally done. But then I realized that when I want to have a Chaos Star tattoo, I decided it's gonna be my own band, because with Annihilators, instead of getting the 8 star Chaos Star, as you know, arrows and shit, we decided to have bullets, because Annihilators has always been about war, destruction, and things related to that. I wouldn't really call us war metal band, because technically speaking, we have nothing to do musically with bands like Blasphemy and anything that followed us. But the themes were very much about violence, war, destruction, and so forth. So I decided, okay, what could be more personal way to put a Chaos Star tattoo on my own skin, but the band one. So technically speaking, this is for me as a personal tattoo, but it's also a band tattoo, and my only band tattoo for that matter. Back then it was without the text. So later on, because I fucking love Latin phrases, I wanted to have this. I'm trying to show you. Si vis pacem parabellum. If you want peace, prepare for war, which is my attitude in life. You cannot run your mouth and not be ready to pay the bill, pay the piper in a way. So if you want to be this bad guy, at least prepare to be hit, to defend yourself, and so forth, which is then again related to my martial arts things. So as you can see, these all have kind of a story for myself. So in essence, I figured this would be the perfect spot to put the tattoo, because here it's already saying war and chaos, violence. And since my Over 25 years of martial arts, I figured out, because I've been training so much self defense and shit. This is my way of saying, like, you need to learn to protect yourself, defend yourself, and stand up and fight if that is what is necessary. So, technically speaking, two tattoos. Number one, and this is probably something like number six, number five. I don't remember the order anymore. And then this other side, this was a gift by my girlfriend back then. Mjolnir, obviously, Thor's hammer. And the story goes, because I've been as a Viking fan since I was a kid. I don't know, about 10 maybe. I figured out I loved, Viking stories. As I got older, I read more Viking stories. And then eventually I bumped into Viking stories in metal music. Viking metal, Amon Amarth, death metal even, you know. So it was very fitting for me that when I was taking this cruise ship, among with the other students, I was 19, I think, back in the day, at the commercial school. I bought this Thor's hammer amulet, which once again I have got this as a birthday gift. So I had this kind of a Thor's hammer amulet or necklace or whatever when I was 19, and it was around my neck for so many years. But when I was swimming in the near the Pacific, or in the Pacific, near Los Angeles, and 2013, the waves, went on me, and my necklace was vanished. Of all the places in the world, the God of Thunder's necklace went into the sea, and obviously it couldn't be found anymore. So I was like, man, that was around my neck for uh, almost 20 years. Every day. If I go to sauna, if I go to swim, if I go to bars, if I go to have sex, whatever, it was, just hanging around my neck. So it was quite fitting to, when I didn't have the necklace anymore, to have it inked on me, to kind of have the next step of Mjolnir, the god of thunders, Thor's hammer here, to represent my love for the Viking myths and stories and, all that stuff, symbolism. Because Thor never been the smartest of the Viking gods. He was always like, you have to defend yourself, be true to yourself, and be the man of the house, whatever. Get so many different angles how you want to perceive it. So, because it symbolized for me anyway, lots of things which I like. What is the better place than put an ink in yourself? Nowadays, I once again have the necklace, but doesn't make this one useless. So, long story once again with this given tattoos. This was getting it out to 2012. And then there's a couple of tattoos which are like siblings. The ones on the outer side of my forearms. Obviously, memento mori means remember your mortality, or remember that you will die. Once again, a lover of these Latin phrases. For some people, it's basically the similar thing like carpe diem, like remember to live, seize the moment kind of a thing, which in my opinion is both, can be seen as pessimistic, but very much more also optimistic way of, to see life and perceive the possibilities that you don't want to waste your time doing things that are not worthwhile, things that are meaningless. It's very fucking important to live. You make mistakes and it's fine, but remember to fucking live, so you don't have to just, wonder about the things you didn't do when you're about to die. And I say these ones on the outer side of my forearms are for the outsiders. They get to read a little bit of my view on life and shit, versus the ones that I have inside. Res non verba is the companion of this one here, and it basically means things, not words. It's kind of ironic if you think about it, because I write for a living. So words are very fucking important tools, and even the Shakespearean take that, the pen is mightier than the sword. Very, very effective when you're talking about, propaganda and things like that. But in essence, it also means people can like run their mouths, blah, 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 and not do a thing. So it's almost like if you have seen a Full Metal Jacket movie, and there is this question And you can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? You know, I'll give you a real life example. There are people like, I should quit the smoking. And the next day you're like, you're smoking. You're saying, I will quit smoking. I will quit cheating on my wife. I will do this and I will do that. And they don't. They just run their mouths. They make empty fucking promises. So I'm like, this is basically like acta non verba, which is also like actions, not words, or actions speak louder than words. Similar things here. Reality, things, be it actions or concrete items, they speak louder than words. I mean, it's easy to say like I would do this and that, and then you don't. Put your money where your mouth is. This is basically exactly that. Words are not as important as the things you do or the actions that take place. Then a couple of reminders for yours truly. Like I said, inside forearm tattoos, which are also like these were taken at the same session, which is why this and that look the same, also taken the same sessions. Devotion, it's more like kind of a reminder for me, like be devoted whatever you do. Remember to have the passion, the love, the emotion, whatever you do. Like if you do music, if you do any kind of art, creation, uh, put your mind into it and fucking love it. It's like you're supposed to not do things out of just because you kind of need to do or because you have promised to do something. Be also devoted, like devote yourself, be it friends or family or the things you love, music, whatever. So kind of like inhale all that shit. And on the other hand, discipline, which is for me more like self discipline, but it fits better to be short, which is basically when I go to the gym, I grab the bar and I start doing, chin ups, pull ups, whatever. It's the kind of a like iron mind. Keep yourself in check. If you're consuming alcohol, still keep yourself in check. Iron will, self discipline. When you feel like, I don't know, man, I don't feel that well. Should I go to the gym or should I just play video games, watch a movie? And then you're like, discipline hits in. Motherfucker, you go to the gym and you will thank me later. It's that kind of a thing. Some people might say, oh, that's a bullshit in that guy's arm. We are free to think that way. Now, let's talk about the ones that are not so visible, but I guess worth a story. So this one here, I don't know if that makes sense to you, is Atlas holding the planet Earth above his head. Once again, mythological creature. Like I said, I love these Latin things, but I also love mythological tales like the Viking stuff, but also Greek stuff. So Atlas is holding Earth on his shoulders, carrying the big weight. This is also a symbol for strongmen, powerlifters, and whatever. So kind of a many meanings to it. Some people at the gym was once again asking, "Is this the FIFA trophy? The thing in football or soccer?" And I'm like, "No, it's Atlas." Another one which is on the other calf. Bear with me. You probably can't see it, but there is this Ouroboros, the snake that eats itself, and it also says penis weakness leaving the body, which is kind of related to the discipline part. So it's almost like you feel the pain, you feel the pressure, and you feel things that are not necessarily good for you, but you also recognize it's a step that you need to take in order to achieve something else. And Ouroboros obviously symbolizes the continuation, the ever cycling, cycle of life itself is all like that. But in other ways, also like things go in cycles. They kind of eat itself. There's so many things in life that kind of goes through that. One thing's end is a beginning of a new one. And then there are these things like, life itself, which is kind of a fucking life consuming. There's a lot of irony in that in a sense, but our lives are like that. We are born helpless and all that stuff. And if we encounter our natural death, we are in that very same state again. So it's in a way, um, our lives actually destroy our own lives. If you take a look at the science based fact on that, I recently read about it in a science magazine from Finland. And it was basically said that our own cells, they kind of end themselves in a way. So while life that would go perfectly, ever after, endlessly could go on, is kind of ended by the body itself. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm not gonna lecture obviously here for 1 hour. My point here is, there is this kind of a way that the life actually kills life. And if you really think about it, that's very true, in the sense that we also kill other lives in order to live. That's how, animals and lots of humans actually survive, eat, kill the meat to eat it in order that you get to live. So there is this kind of I wouldn't call it pessimistic, but kind of a nihilistic take on a lot of things. I know this was a lengthy answer you probably not looking for, but I hope to give you a little bit of insight what goes in my fucking fucked up mind. Obviously, there have been plans to take a lot of different tattoos over the years, but I really haven't had, that really good idea what would be the next step. At some point, I was thinking about getting the kind of a phoenix thing. Remember when I mentioned that I love mythological tales and symbolisms, but I never went for it. Then again, I also like, things like Schrodinger's cat. And there was this idea, I saw this in a science magazine also. There was this thing about, I think it was about atoms and stuff. And there was this, uh, you know, picture of Schrodinger's cat who can be dead and alive at the same time. And you never know it until you actually take a look at it at the right time. And then I was thinking, oh, actually, I like that idea. And then I also wanted to take, I've been thinking about it, would be a great idea to take some kind of a tattoo of Sisyphean, the person who, rolls the big rock on the top of a mountain or cliff, only to see it roll down later on. And again, he pushes it up, and again, it rolls down. But I am a sucker for these kind of mythological takes, so all that stuff. So a lengthy answer and all that stuff. Yes, it's been mainly Jerry knows Kung Fu Viking. Well, actually, yeah, I did 4 years of Tang Lung Kung Fu full combat. Then I went to Choi Li Foot Kung Fu 4 years, and then Tang Lang Kung Fu another 4 years, and on that I went to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and submission grappling, and later on Defendo, Shenshido, more reality-based self-defense and all that stuff. And Ginger is asking what are my thoughts on that most people get tattoos just because it's fashion, not for themselves. I don't really care. I mean, if people want to make tattoos as a fashion statement, go ahead. It's their body. It's their right to, ruin it, so to speak. I think it's funny to see it as a fashion, but people do funny things for fashion. Now, since I have answered all your questions with the tags, I'm gonna roll back a little bit to answer the other questions which were not tagged. Cecilia Taylor was asking why Spotify wrapped bands. The funny thing is, I didn't even open it, except I wanted to see what was my most listened band on Spotify. And because most of the stuff I listen to are on CDs and vinyl, they don't really get tracked by Spotify. I only listen to Spotify, well, mostly when I'm driving around to places or at the gym, listening to my buds and all. So I was expecting it's going to be Cannibal Corpse, because I went through the whole Cannibal Corpse discography earlier last spring, and I figured out it must be that because 16 albums and some I gave more than one listen, but it was actually my own band, which is funny. But I found the reason why I listened mostly to Nightside, because I was learning the lyrics for the next gig. You know, by the time we had recorded an album, obviously, when you record, lyrics or vocals, you get to read them on paper or whatever iPad. And obviously, I still don't remember lyrics like that. So I kind of remember them only for a short amount of time. So when we had our first gig after we recorded the album, I kind of had to, you know, keep reminding myself of the lyrics. So when I was driving, I was listening to Spotify in my car, and those selected tracks we decided to include in our set list for the gig. So I looped a lot of tracks just because I wanted to, remind myself of the lyrics I had written. So hence my own band Nightside was my number one in Spotify Wrapped, which kind of sucks because I wanted to be something else, but what can you do? Numbers don't lie. Hello, Finger Krampus from America. Where are you from? Yes, so many people have been saying like new Satan Warmaster album sounds like Judas Iscariot, and many people have been saying it's kind of a Judas Iscariot tribute. And Paradise Lost Gothic, amazing album except for the drumming. I can't stand it. I nowadays mostly like Paradise Lost after or starting from Icon. I like the later bleaker Paradise Lost, which is more mature in terms of lyrics and very bleak lyrics, where the early on was just like, let's do some death doom in a gothic fashion. Let's drop some cool words which don't really mean anything. But later on, when the guys matured, they started making really dark lyrics, and that's why Paradise Lost fucking resonates with me. I mean, it's musically a lot softer, but it's almost like this darker version of, like Pink Floyd, or like a thinking man's band in terms of lyrics. There's a lot of that darkness that really speaks to me. I really can't explain why I'm a sucker for darker themes. I mean, I like bleak movies, bleak TV series, bleak game stories, bleak fucking lyrics. There's something that I fucking enjoy in that, even though I don't want to be part of the bleakness as such. But yeah, I'm a sucker for that. Yeah, Brian Mons, don't get me wrong. In my opinion, Black Album is good, but it's nowhere near the first four Metallica albums. Our favorite dissection album is obviously Storm of the Light Bane. Nothing else goes near. Hello, Mars Dweller. Hello, other people who came later on. Oh, Mars Dweller was asking what's in the glass. Like I said, I might miss your questions unless you tag. Third time showing you the can here. Mallassepät, who provided me the beer, for free. Tropical three-way, which is fruited sour with chili, mango, passion fruit, milk, sugar, and mixed fermentation. Mostly tasting like mango and passion fruit with a little bit of a chili. Very, very fruity, very fucking easy to consume. It's almost like drinking a fucking orange juice or something. Oh, so delicious. But mind you, I have a couple of more beers in the cold outside, so I will get them as well. I even forgot to like Brian Moon's donation. Thank you so much, Brian, once again. Pires was asking how big and how influential is the Finnish scene in the band Impel Nazarene. Now, I don't want to go deep into that because I previously did one episode. I mean, the first episode of Finnish black metal from the 90s series. I went through the whole Impel Nazarene discography and history of the band, but I would say there are there are not many bands that sound like Impel Nazarene. Maybe Vomit Angel is only one, but everybody pretty much loved Impel Nazarene back in the days, and it made waves. And it's, in my opinion, one of the most important bands from Finland, whether we are talking about extreme metal in general, not just black metal. But obviously, there are people who never like the band or who think it's too obnoxious or too much humor in that and all. But overall, I think Impel Nazarene is one of the biggest footprint in the Finnish extreme metal scene. Oh, Marcus has been listening to great dark ambient albums like Innate and Lull. That's great. Oh yeah, Jesso commented Slayer earlier on, saying they were the big deal and influence to black metal. Definitely, I think Slayer is not even getting the enough of credit. How much their darker and violent topics affected both death metal and black metal. I mean, come on, they had a fucking pentagram already on Show No Mercy, and they were, not hiding. They were flirting with so-called devil's music. Obviously, it's a kind of a step up from whatever Venom was doing. You can even hear musically that the first Slayer is very British heavy metal like, and they were not hiding, that they were flirting with the kind of corpse paintish appearance, becoming wild and all that stuff. And some of the lyrics, I mean, they were not hiding. They were anti-Christian in lyrics and dealing with death, violence, and all that stuff, and hell. So yeah. I think Slayer is often just kind of ignored as being part of the bands that influenced black metal and death metal. I mean, Slayer is loved in many ways, but I think trash is not given the credit a lot of it should deserve in terms of being an inspiration to black metal and beyond. So Brian Mons and Cecilia love Christmas. Well, can't preach about it. And yeah. Like Jessa said, we call it Yule. Actually, in Finnish, Christmas is called Joulu, which is coming from the very same word as Yule. Christmas is kind of giving the idea it's Christian, uh, you know, celebration where it's very pagan in Finland mostly. Now I'm gonna get a beer. We've been already doing 50 minutes this stream, and I just finished my first beer. So, people, what we said in when I was playing World of Warcraft, when you need to take a piss or whatever we called it, bio. Take a bio, visit the toilet, the restroom, whatever you call it. Grab yourself another drink. I will just give this a little bit of a water and fill a new glass with a new beer. Stay tuned. Back in about 1 minute. Alrighty, that was a quick one to come back. And now the second beer today. Like I said, these are sponsored and provided by Mallassepät, a rather local brewery. Great beers. That's why I got in contact with them. This is a double banger. Obviously, very fitting for a metal theme. And given that we say of a good song, it's a banger. So this one is a double banger. You can bang your head twice. Uh, and as you can see here, it's a Simcoe and Motueka Net IPA. Now, usually people are talking about NAPAS, which is New England IPA, usually rather like kind of an unfiltered IPA, or India Pale Ale for that matter. I gotta say, I don't know what this D means here. I know what Simcoe means. It's referring to uh, the kind of a hoppy thing here, but here it says Simcoe Motueka and Ibu 60. Ibu is in international bitter units, which means how bitter the beer actually is. And IPAs are usually quite bitter. 60 is not the most bitter out there, but it's also somewhat challenging for a lot of people. And here it's explained what the D means. It's double IPA. I should have known it because DIPA and double IPA is a known thing to me. Something that I really fucking love. They're the kind of a stronger end of IPAs, very hoppied. So it's technically speaking New England double IPA, a combination I don't remember tasting previously. I've tasted many DPAs along the way, and of course, probably even more different NAPAs, but never I have remembered tasting Nedipa or New England double IPA for that matter. And here it says harmonious blend of Simcoe and Motueka hops. I have encountered Simcoe hops many, many times along the years, but I don't remember seeing Motueka. So I don't really know what to expect, except that I know Mallassepät do Mallassepät do fucking good beer. So let's open the can, and I'm gonna read your comments. And yeah, Ali was saying that amazing glad to like NYC. And Azakal was, yeah, I don't know, they were in the United States, but cool that they got to Brooklyn and New Jersey. I've never been to New Jersey myself. Would love to visit that place, but I've been to Brooklyn and I like the vibe. It's really one of the places I would definitely want to go with, beers and all. Anyway, back to the beer. As you can see, unfiltered. So it's whereas the sour I was having was very very yellowy, kind of orange like juice like. This is more closer to traditional IPA beers and all, meaning it's kind of a pale ale, and as you can see, unfiltered. You really can't see through like you can see through lager beers and all that stuff. So it's murky, but I like it. And yeah, it kind of already give it a little bit of a citron smell. Yeah, yeah, has a nice smell to it. Let's take a sip. Wow, this is an honest reaction. This hits you like a like a train in your mouth. Very very different from the sour beer that I had, which is something that you would expect. I think sour beers like you're listening to some cheesy but really good heavy metal. You're like, yep, heavy metal. You don't need it heavier than that. And then it comes like, we play war metal. This is like war metal. Deepa beers tend to be the kind of a war metal beers in a way. They are relentless. But once your mouth kind of gets used to it, you're going to fucking love it. So blasphemy in your mouth. Anyhow, yeah, like I said, it would be nice to get back to New York City, back to United States. I would love to go to there as Rauta to see shows, to interview the given bands, and just feel the different kind of audience. Because obviously, all the bands I've seen, all the festivals I've gone to are in Europe, so it would be really cool to see the North American vibe and all. Um, and SHGT or 11 here is asking me the thoughts on the Kanonenfieber, and I have mentioned them, and 11 calls them awesome. Um, Now, in my opinion, they're kind of a lukewarm, and I actually kind of dislike them thus far. They have been one of the bands that can be like even complaining that we cannot play shows if they're toxic bands at the same venue, even if it's different event. Canon and FIBA were bitching about that they cannot come to play at a venue that have had bands that might have had something to do with, I don't know, questionable politics. We're not even talking about NSBM here. We're talking about bands that are getting labeled. Think about all the Marduks and Hornas and all that stuff, which are not NSBM, but they're getting cancelled because some people still think they are like that. And to be honest, that's why they were not able to play in my home city Turku when they were, being offered to play here. They were like, get the fuck out of here. If you have that kind of a problem, you're not really black metal. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, obviously, Canon and FIBA are very cautious for two reasons. First of all, they're German. They do not want to get the absurd stain, meaning, any kind of connection to the National Socialist or right wing politics, because they're from Germany. That stain would never leave them. Secondly, their label is Century Media, which is probably even more like, what the fuck are you doing? Then again, remember, they are already, also, they have Marduk. Now, Marduk is the kind of a band that fucking flirts with everything and they don't give a fuck. People tried to get Marduk cancelled in Canada for the same reason Horna, for example, got cancelled. So right wing stuff or questionable politics and all that stuff. Marduk got to play, Horna didn't. Curiously, Canon and Fiba and Marduk are playing at the same fest in Finland next year. And I'm thinking like, so suddenly Canon and Fiba doesn't have a problem with the band that is labeled as toxic politics, but they had the problem when the bands were in a different events. So double standards, hypocrisy. In my opinion, this only makes Canon and Phoebe suck even more. Now, musically, they're nothing out of ordinary. I don't get why they are being hyped so much, but I'm guessing maybe it's the only war themed band that is from the left side of things. And now I don't pick sides in politics. I don't like left wing. I don't like right wing. I think it's all crap in a different fucking package. So when a band go like, okay, we're flirting with the left wing and we get to play with, war, but I'm making these statements. We cannot play at your venue because you had these other bands. I'm like, fucking double standard cowards. No, my grammar is losing its bearings here. Maybe too much for that. Jokes aside. So I'm saying Canon and Feber, in my books, sucks ass. Prove me wrong. Maybe they are cool guys, and maybe they will eventually make a good album, but so far, I'm not fucking convinced. All right. More comments. So, like Zoh said, Canon and Phoebe underwhelming for how much attention they got. Yeah, new band, getting a lot of hype, but not, really, really doing the things. Once again, tag me if you want to make sure that I get answer. Oh, now more questions with them. Lightning is once again asking, what was the best gig I went this year? It was the Battery tribute at Beyond the Gates. Mind blowing. I love Battery. Oh, that would be the number 5 band. Thank you for reminding. You asked me what are my favorite bands. Like I said, I was forgetting something. Let's remove Ball Thrower from the equation. Battery should definitely be in my top 5 bands. So this Battery tribute was freaking great. Not only they were, playing the songs from the best Battery albums, like first 6 albums or so. Well, I love Blood and Ice as well. But also they were really, really nicely done. I mean, they had this great all-star lineup, people from Enslaved, Or Noir, well, Diebel, Faust was playing, I think, drums there. Then they had these various vocalists like Björn from One Tail, One Head, and countless other bands, including Behexen. They had Eric from Vatine, and they had actually a couple of songs like Old Battery Bass Player. Satur did vocals for one song, not that great though, but still. And there were a bunch of other vocalists, like each one doing like one song basically. And well, yeah, Enslaved Guy was there playing in the lineup as well. Ibar. So all in all, fucking great. I mean, Battery is one of the most meaningful bands for me, been since the 90s. And, that show was not a fucking cover band, as you're here, there are millions of cover bands doing Iron Maiden covers. But this was more like a tribute by people who really, made sure that these Battery songs were fucking excellent. And Grieg Holland, the legendary studio / concert place in Bergen, Norway. The production is, the sound is really, really good there. So it was a magical experience, one of the best gigs ever. So definitely the best gig this year. And I've seen plenty of really, really good gigs this year, but that was the most magical one. And John Shorter is asking what's my favorite Slayer album. He says his is Show No Mercy. Show No Mercy is actually one of my least favorite Slayer album. It's too heavy metal, British heavy metal, which is why I don't really like it. It's like half of it's good, but Live Undead is already better version of it with the same songs. well, almost the same songs. But my favorite, Slayer album is obviously Rain in Blood. It's actually the best album ever. So no questions asked. But Seasons in the Abyss is almost as good. It's almost 10 out of 10 album as well. Rain in Blood is obviously 10 out of 10 album. But yeah, Slayer mostly has really good albums, but Show No Mercy was never something that I really liked that much. I know it's a shock. Some people really consider it the best. For me, it never made big impact. And trust me, I've tried. All right, more questions. Ramon says, like, if you want peace, prepare for war. Isn't the Children of Bottom lyric? Could be Children of Bottom lyric. I mean, it's a really old saying. Come from, if I'm not mistaken, Niccolo Machiavelli, who used to write it during, well, I don't think if it was Roman era at that point, but really centuries and centuries old. I think it was Niccolo Machiavelli who made this saying very, very much like known throughout the history. Like, if you want peace, prepare for war. So, yeah, most certainly Children of Bodom didn't invent that, but I'm not surprised if they used that because it's a classic saying, really. Or else? No, I'm just going through the back scroll here, and there are no time tags. I don't even remember when you asked these, but like I said, I prefer when you tag me. So yeah, Euphoric, are you happy for the call for your reveal? Atlas, yeah. Um. Oh yeah, hello Rob Hellfire, welcome to the stream. Cecilia Taylor has a good question. Was is a good what is this? Was is good job music for you? Yes, very evil English. Um, and Cecilia is saying that hardcore and beatdown would be appropriate. Yeah, can work, but to be honest, since I do heavy lifts and I'm more about powerlifting rather than high tempo cardio or whatever, so obviously the music is more mid tempo at best. Ball Thrower is one of the fucking best gym music soundtracks ever. But Manowar, nothing beats fucking Manowar when we're talking about gym music. Rammstein is very fucking close. Think of the militant march tempo. Power, power, the kind of a thing. It's getting done and better. No, seriously. I think Rammstein really has the kind of a German pounding. It's almost like those, Roman armies you can hear marching in your head, and you're like, oh, let's fucking lift. Black metal tends to be a little bit too high tempo. Doom metal, obviously, too slow tempo. Slayer and the kind of a thrash metal mid tempo, maybe, but the faster and technical stuff, thinking about listening to Nile or whatever. I mean, I listen to what all kind of music, all kind of stuff. What I listen to in general, I mean, at the gym, so I can listen to whatever the tempo is. But if I'm looking for my favorite stuff, I would say the mid tempo stuff. Like I said, Ball Thrower, Manowar, Rammstein, that kind of stuff really, really fucking works when, doing the gym training. But that's just my style, my discipline, if you will. All right, more questions? Yeah, Rob Hellfire, I totally understand you being a fan of your own guitarist. I mean, it's easy to be like for me it's easy to be a fan of Nightside because I don't write the songs. I write the lyrics, but I don't create the melodies. I don't write the riffs. I have obviously some ideas, but I think most of the other guys They have the better riffs, so they don't need my riffs or my melodies. So when they're writing the music, I can really be the fan of my own band's music when I'm not writing it. I don't even feel biased about it because, like I said, I don't write it, so it's easy for me to be the fan of the given style and all. But yeah, I mean, I get it. It can give you a little bit of a weird feeling in the sense like, how can you like your own band? Like, isn't that fucking weird? Like incestuous. But no, if it's not you writing the music, I mean, it can be done and without being weird. Here, Dirty's asking indeed the same question as everybody else about new Satanic War Master, and I gotta say, I'm waiting for the CD to arrive, so haven't listened to it yet. Um, Cecilia Taylor is asking my thoughts about three recent scandals. Tim Lambesis, I don't know him. Chief Becerra, well, we went to possessed Jeff's case on Rauta's Discord, and I think he was lured into somewhat creepy. But I mean, we've seen way worse Me Too things so far. The Sadistormer beating, his own wife or girlfriend, spouse, fiance, whatever it is. It's just sick and fucking stupid. But stupid people are what stupid people are. So what can I say? Fucking shame that they're these violent assholes. But what can you do? I think it's way worse than uh, online creepy messaging. And in my thing, their latest scandals have been also this Impel Nazarene cancellation in Netherlands or the Horna cancellation in Canada, Serpent Shrine being cancelled in United States. So there's so many different kind of scandals we could be talking about. Well, Rob Hellfire, it's past been debated whether Slayer counts as a first wave black metal band or proto black. I think it can be both, but I really wouldn't put Slayer in the same box as say Bathory or Celtic Frost. I still consider Slayer thrash. Now thrash can overlap with black metal as much as thrash can overlap with death metal. Think about Possessed; they were both. So in that sense, I don't know. I feel it's a little bit revisionist to call Slayer black metal just because they were flirting with the same topics. Oh yeah, dude. Sup was asking what class in World of Warcraft. I originally started as undead rogue. Obviously, undead are my fetish thing, if I have any. So that was the thing. And actually, my very fucking first character ever in role playing games, I mean, pen and paper, back in 1987, was a thief. So, sort of a rogue. So, I wanted to be this sneaky, stealthy guy. So, I figured out this would be my thing. So, yeah, I really fucking like, playing a rogue in World of Warcraft. But I re rolled to a healer on that also because I think the raid guild I was in, actually leading the guild for years, needed a healer back in the day. So I decided I'm gonna do what the guild needs rather than what I want to play. And besides, healing was fun in World of Warcraft. But yeah, I started with undead rogue, and that was kind of like my always my main character, despite of re-rolling to healer priest in this case. Gerald is asking where the native Finns live in Finland, like the Sami people. They live in Lapland, very far north. So, for example, I have never seen many Sami people in my life. I think in adult life, maybe one. But then again, I really don't question people. Oh, you saw me. Are you saw me? Like maybe I've met more, but never made a talk about it. Cecilia Taylor was asking, did I watch Knocked Loose on Jimmy Kimmel? No, I don't think we even see Jimmy Kimmel here in Finland. Oh yeah, people were asking about this strong beer. This is indeed 8.0%, which is quite typical for DIPA or double IBA beers, where this beer was just 6.0. So if I'm getting tipsy eventually, blame it on the beer and wait for the third one. That's the strongest one so far. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just picking up the Zoom here. Um, what else? Touch of pine in there. Where? Morjesta, Lucas. Oh yeah, we've been doing this for an hour and a bit. Yeah, I got a Rob Hellfire gonna say I never like Hoe Garden. Hello, Alex. And um, Damien Christ is asking, what kind of thoughts I have on Beyond the Gates lineup? I think it's good. It's not fantastic, but it's like for me the same level as Steelfest in terms of having interesting bands to me. So I'm really thinking this could be the best Beyond the Gates festival for me, including past 2 years. That is, I was for the first time at Beyond the Gates in 2023, and this year again, 2024. So far, it looks like 2025 could be the best so far. So yeah. Dude, Sup is asking, do I like power metal like Warrior Path? I've never heard Warrior Path, but power metal tends to be too uplifting and cheesy and happy and all that stuff for me. Like I explained earlier, when it comes to movies, when it comes to music, when it comes to games, whatever, I like the bleak and dark stuff. I am sucker for darkness. So yeah, power metal tends to be too happy, too cotton candy, too ice cream like. I fucking love ice cream, but I would like ice cream even more if it was more grim. Now it's just cold. So yeah. Marcus, yeah, I think it's very shameful that festivals don't push back against the cancellation. I will actually make a video about it. Next week I think should come out about these cancellation things, and I will talk about it in bigger scale because I think it's very very problematic. This Imbel Nazarene case is a good example of that. But I will give you a glimpse what I mean. Like Imbel Nazarene actually backed off from festivals like Steelfest so that they wouldn't get more cancelled, and see what happens still. Over lyrics that are over 20 years old. So people don't fucking forgive. Like one promoter put it nicely, you give an inch and they want to take the whole foot. So when you cave in under the pressure of cancellation, they're going to push you even more. So that's why we go back to the very topics when I was talking about with the tattoos. If you want peace, prepare for war. And when you are not prepared to go war with the people that gonna cancel you, they will fucking cancel you. I've been actually waiting to be canceled just because I have these strong opinions. I mean, it's not like I'm a politically incorrect person, or in the sense of like you cannot cancel me over fucking Nazi accusations because you don't find anything about it on me because there is none. But I think people can cancel me or want to cancel me because I tend to interview wrong kind of bands. I review wrong kind of bands and I defend wrong kinds of opinions and whatever. I mean, cancel me if you want, if you can, and then I don't do this channel anymore. Then I have more free time to do something else. But the funny thing is, there are real problems in this world. Like, imagine some people are suffering from starvation, not having clean water, people who are ridden with disease. You know what these social justice warriors do? Do they help people without, food, nutrition, vaccinations? Do they help kids who need parents? Do they help people who are suffering because of war? No, they go canceling bans. Why? Because they think they can make a fucking difference. See the fucking double standards. Start canceling now. So, like Marco said, black metal, by its very nature, is offensive and in your face for the most parts. Yes, that's what it's supposed to be. Not of this Kanonenfieber. Yeah, we are scared of German things. We are coming from Germany. Please don't cancel things. So, give in and you cannot be pushed. I like John Rock says, fuck politics, love music. That's the right thing. I'm very much 100% with John right here. Yes, Chasa, you're totally right about that. Marduk inhabit another world compared to Ganon and Phoebe. It like Marduk doesn't give a fuck or don't give a fuck. So yeah. And Rob Hellfire that the battery tribute thing is coming to another round. Battery tribute is gonna also be playing at Brutal Assault as well as Helsinki Metal Fest. But I think it will have less those guest vocalists next year than at Beyond the Gates. Oh, John Road, I envy you for meeting Gordhon back in the days. Let's see if there are more tagged questions. Yeah, there. One is John Road is saying like never apologize for being wrong about Slayer. Yeah. I mean, matters of taste. I love Rainy Blood and not so much Show No Mercy, but doesn't matter. Matters of taste. Jerry Lumby is saying like, do I like any 80s music, like some of the cheesy synth pop ballads? Yes, I do. Back in the days, 80s was so much refreshing versus say 90s when things started, this annoying Euro pop or whatever. But 80s, there are lots of individual songs which get me like, I don't know even why I like this stuff. Sometimes it can be this really uplifting stuff, like the synthwave of that the Miami Vice intro stuff and all. And there are these pop songs which I can really enjoy. Some of them are cheesy and uplifting, and some of them are kind of like dark, even if they're like supposed to be happy. Think about Boys of Summer by Don Haley. I fucking love that song. There's something very, I don't know, melancholia about it. So it's, yeah, weird. Ginger Rocks is Snoidi, Sami black metal from Australia. That sounds fucking weird. Oh, that's weird. Oh, Chase, you met Fred Dunn, and oh, wow, that's great. I had some talk with Gordon's sister at Beyond the Gates, and another relative. I think it was his uncle or something, and they had been invited to see this battery tribute. It was so surreal to talk even sister of Gordon, and I was like, "What the fuck, man? Great, crazy." Dude, I haven't heard the new Goat Moon single with Maniac, but I will wait for an album. Oh yeah, Jerry Lamb. I know that this Horna cancellation has it's rooted in the being in defense of Peste Noir, like Spellgoth was for a short period of time part of Peste Noir, but it's not like he was there for years or did any political statements. So it was all that fuck off thing. Yeah, very punk of them, really. Fucking stupid, really. It kind of shows that you don't even have to do nasty shit to get cancelled. All you need to do is to have wrong kind of friends, which means I should be cancelled. I have wrong kind of friends. I have extreme left friends and extreme right friends. So twice the reason to cancel me. Oh yeah, Lightning was already asking, isn't this Battery Tribute touring next year coming to Helsinki? Yes, and also Brutal Assault. But like I said, I doubt they will have that many guest vocalists in next year. But Battery Tribute is definitely worth checking out if you have the chance. Um, yeah, Rob Hilfer. I mean, Slayer never did a bad album, so there's that. It's not like as bad as Metallica or Iron Maiden later on. Yes, dude. Manowar is the best to do that shit. Best gym music ever. Yeah, and I could imagine Cold could be great for jumping jacks or a lot of things because Cold is mid tempo. Can't say I have ever heard Storm Ruler. Yes, Out of Heaven is a fucking great album. But Mortician, I think I find Mortician quite of a boring band. Like sometimes I joke that best parts of Mortician are the samples from those horror movies. Yeah, Jerry Lamb, I think you make a good point about the Me Too movements. It's like some guy sends WhatsApp messages, and suddenly you are boxed in with rapists and people who are grabbing your butts and tits and shit. Like it's fucking stupid. It's almost like you push someone in a bar and you're treated as a fucking murderer. Like what the fuck, black and white world. Oh, Askemit, the Horner guys backstage. Horner guys are so nice. Great dudes. All great guys. No rock stardom. All great dudes. So thank you, Aske. Nice to hear that you had a good talk with Tuomas. Tuomas is such a great guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All the Horner guys are great. Ville, Mynni, Tuomas. I mean, both Villes, obviously. Lauri. Can't say anything bad about these guys. I've known most of them for a lot of years. Uh, Shadrauk Ville, I met him for the first time in the 90s. I think we got along pretty much nicely from the get go. And the other Ville, Tuomas, I've known them so for some year, many, many, many years. Mynni known them. He was like, I don't know, 20 years maybe. Yeah, they are great guys. Yeah, Horna guys are something that I think we can really be proud of as Finns. Yeah. Dude, what do you mean reading off of Patreon? Never see the questions asked. And I'm not reading Patreon here. I'm reading the questions here on the stream, obviously. There are no questions for me on Patreon anyway. I'm just, going these questions backlog. I mean, I said always tag me if you want to ask me something, and I will answer those first, and I will then, comment later on the back scroll of the questions. Ginger Roxy is asking, any new night side in progress? Yes, in fact, we have 3 new songs ready, and we're rehearsing them. And the plan is to make a demo of the 3 new songs, and then see what will happen. I think the new songs are really good. Obviously, I'm biased about it. They're dark, melodic, fast, intense, very much in the very same sense as Death from the North. So if you like Death from the North, you probably will like the new songs as well. 11 is asking, have I ever heard about the Slovakian band's Autumn Nostalgia? Unfortunately, not. Yeah, Chandra Rock Dagon is really, really nice person. Well, you know that I met him a couple of years ago when I did the Inquisition interview. I tried to catch him on when he was playing Steelfest the last time, but I didn't catch him, so I couldn't say hello to him. But yeah, Dagon has been really a nice person all in all. Um, Captain Swee, she's asking, have I ever seen Goat Moon live? Yeah, he had this wheelchair, but this was like, let me think, something like 2008 or 2009. There was Der Stürmer and Absurd and Go to Moon playing in my home city. Yes, it's one of those very rare occasions you see bands like that entering the stage. and people are already outside of Finland were coming to Finland because you don't get to see that kind of an NSBM gig in most countries. And even though I'm not an NSBM fan, because I was invited, obviously I went because why the fuck not? It's one of those once in a lifetime chances to probably see lineup like that. The funny thing is, while I'm no fan of NSBM scene as such, there was this couple, NSBM couple who was complimenting my nose, Aryan nose, and I was like, okay, whatever you say. But I mean, they were nice people. Can't really like start bitching about it. Like, I don't agree with your politics. If they want to compliment my nose, what can I say? Thank you. So yeah, but I mean, I've seen Goat Moon in the wheelchair era. Yes, Plastic Man was asking any input about Havukruunus' new album to be released in February. Well, it's going to be released by SWAT Records in February. Already a new single and video out. Obviously, I don't listen to singles and video songs. So I just emailed them right away when I got the email. Could I get a review copy? I would like to review the Havukruunu album. I haven't got the response yet, but it's mostly because it was Friday yesterday. So maybe I will know more next week, but I hope that I will get to review Havukruunu because I've interviewed the guys and I've met Stefan after that one and we're in good terms. We had a little bit of chat a few months back when they were in my home city, met in a bar. So I hope to get to review the new Havukruunu album, obviously. Yes, Alex, I will do my top 10 albums of the year in January after New Year's Eve. I can already mention that at least one album of my top 10 is not a metal album. So there will be a top 10 list with all genres included. And there's at least one album that is not metal. So let's go back to the list. So once again, if you want to make sure that I get to answer you first, tag me at Rauta and all that stuff, and I will answer you first. Now I will check out some backlog for questions. Roba Saibod is from Utah. Well, interesting. Nice. Nice to have you here. Oh, Alex N was already asking the questions. Am I going to do albums of the year video? Yes, I am. In early January. What do I think about Two Runes? Can't say I have heard it. Roba Saibot is working in a bar that has almost 3 different beers. Roba, you should invite me to your bar. I could be there spending some time. Oh, Jerry was meaning that there's a mention on the pine in this beer. Oh, yeah. So here, someone was mentioning that offering a burst of tropical fruit flavors with a touch of pine and earthiness. Now, my tongue, my taste buds are not that sensitive that I could really say that there's a pine in that beer. There is a pine. No fucking idea. Earthiness, I mean, I can say, yeah, because these double IPAs tend to be a little bit of how to say, strong in hoppiness. And there is this kind of imagine like this. You're having a strong hoppy beer with strong alcohol, like this is 8.0. You could say there is this certain level of bush taste. By bush, I mean like trees, bushes, whatever. So earthiness. Now let's get some water. I'll just digest this beer for a while because 2 strong beers in a row, and the next one is gonna get stronger. So let's wait for a bit so I don't get drunk on the stream. I mean, you're probably gonna like if I get drunk, but let's wait for a bit. So I'll read a couple of comments and get the next one. Um, Gerald, I'm asking, speaking of 80s, what do I think about 80s rock like Def Leppard or authentic stuff like that? Now, never actually listened to Def Leppard, but I mean, I have a soft spot for 80s hard rock and stuff, talking about bands like Whitesnake and stuff. I mean, it's not like I listen to Whitesnake in particular, but my point here is I get this AOR vibe, like, say, Journey, fucking great songs, man. I am from the generation who, theoretically speaking, could have grown with that stuff. Now, I guess I was too quickly learning the ways of naughty music. That is true hard rock and metal to more extreme metal. So when I was, learning music, after bands like Iron Maiden, there was like Wasp, Metal Crew, Twisted Sister, and things like that. So when these bands made, and then of course Kiss was badass. And while I don't think Kiss actually had that many good songs, there are some really good ones, but they had this badass imagery. Now, in nowadays, obviously, when everybody is spoon fed since the very fucking small toddlers, as like, okay, I grew up with Satyricon when I was 3. I was dog thrown when I was 4. I was eating Bertram for dinner when I was 5. You get the idea. But back in the days, when in the 80s, when there were the black metal ones, really, nobody was talking about things like Bathory or Venom. They were not mainstream, So as a kids, we were like exposed to hard rock and heavy metal, things like that. It was pretty basic. So there was no really extreme metal, in our world, so to say. Bolt Thrower was the first extreme metal band I kind of like realized I was listening to something really extreme. And this was, I cannot say for sure, but I'm thinking like something like 1990, maybe 1991. Hard to say, but it was Realm of Chaos, my very first extreme metal album. I didn't obviously know what death metal was back in the days, because I think the hardest, most heavy hitting bands by that time were bands like, Metallica, Suicidal Tendencies, things like that. Technically speaking, of course, in my opinion, thrash metal is the extreme metal scene, much like death metal, black metal, whatever. But anyway, so when I heard, Ball Thrower for the first time, I didn't even realize this was a genre of its own, and I didn't knew like how much things are gonna change within 2 years. So if I heard it back in 1990 or so, already back in 1993, things were like death metal was pouring in from music, television. You had your Cannibal Corpses and Morbid Angels and Entombed, things like that, like coming out. Black metal was coming out big, even if it's like with 1992, nobody was talking about black metal. I mean, not among my friends, circle of friends, or so forth. So what I'm trying to say here, that in my youth, 1980s was kind of an innocence, but it wasn't innocent when we saw the Twisted Sister guys or Mötley Crüe guys or Wasp, when they were with the music TV kind of stuff. I mean, Blackie Lawless had their circular saw blades, on his forearms and on his you know around his dick, not dick, but you know what I mean, the groin. And then you had like the old Merkley crew things. Those guys looked dangerous. They had hot women. Think about like looks that kill, all that stuff. It felt dangerous. Twisted Sister had this really rebellious, outcome. They were not, we're not gonna take it. No way. They were like against school teachers. They were like, we are these rebellious kids. We're not going to school. And that was badass. Mötley Crüe was like smoking in the boys' room. So it was all about like, fuck teachers, fuck your authorities, fuck parents. We're gonna break the rules. We're gonna do bad things. And as a pre-teenager, you had no idea the best things were like happening, like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, you had the rock and roll part, but obviously you didn't know anything about sex. So they were kind of innocent themes, smoking in the boys' room. Nowadays it's kind of like lame. Nowadays you would be like impaling Jesus Christ head in a boys' room, really, to make an impactful or something like that. But back in the days, it was real deal. We were kids, and if someone was smoking in the boys' room, it would be seen something like a few years later, we would say arsoning the church. So when you're like 11, if somebody is smoking in the boys' room, cigar, it was as much as breaking the rules as if Mari Vikernes of Bergen was arsoning a church, really. You know, breaking the rules, breaking the law. Basically, that Judas Priest spirit. So even if it feels lame now, you have to remember that in the mind of a 10 years old, all those rules which are going to be broken are fucking badass. But nowadays, kids are spoon fed with all the extreme bands. When you're, I don't know, 12 and you get to listen to Cannibal Corpse lyrics, how could bands like Mötley Crüe, Skid Row, things like that seem badass? So take it as perspective. And now I have to say, Slayera, thank you so much for your donation. Thank you. Every fucking euro counts. Every fucking dollar counts when we're setting up a Rauta trips. And remember, people, when I was promising to explain how this money is going to be used, I need a beer for that. But once again, thank you so much for your donation. And before I get to the next beer, I will answer the questions you tagged me, because, like I said, when you tag me, I feel obliged to answer them first. What I haven't answered yet are Fred Santanas is asking, did I listen to 2024 Nails album? I unfortunately did not. I've been very busy with the review albums I've been getting. John Jordan Rocks is asking, how is the channel's finance? Now, at the moment, we're actually quite nice. I mean, would be weird to say there's never enough money, but I mean, we are pretty nice, okay? And John Jordan Rocks, you're already doing your part in terms of financing the channel. At the moment, we have, I think, enough money for a couple of trips at least. So now I'm planning something for spring 2025 with my cameraman to go to some festival I've never been to do more interviews with some underground bands. So it looks quite okay, but it's hard for me because I mean, I don't really spend the money easily. When I get some money for Rauta from YouTube ads or Patreon supporters or donations like this, thank you so much. Um, I'm not willing to spend that money unless we're really traveling. So because when we travel, we do interviews. And there's one trip for last festival of this year. The preview video will come out tomorrow. Junshard Rocks, you should be there. It's in Mariehamn in Ahvenanmaa, Åland, in 28th of December. And they're like 5 bands, small bands, but it's first time for this festival in Mariehamn. And I'm going there with my cameraman, and we're gonna see what's it about. It didn't cost much, less than 170 euros for 2 guys, including the cruise and hotel. So Junshard Rocks and another Finnish and Swedish people come to Ahvenanmaa in 2 weeks, 28th of December. Junshard Rocks, try to be there. Let's have some beers. Captain Sweeb is asking, what's my opinion about Sandals beer and how I would compare to Karhu and Aura and other Finnish lager beers. I think Sandal is pretty basic. I don't really buy that kind of beer for myself. I mean, lager beer is not really my thing. Maybe it's good for, with pizzas and food and sauna, but I like special beers, craft beers. And Judge Rock is having Golden Carolus 11% Imperial Dark. That sounds good. Louis is asking, do I see any possibility of another prospector interview with Absu playing at Steelfest next year? The answer is definitely yes. Absu is playing both at Beyond the Gates as well as Steelfest, and I would love to do a new proscriptor interview with Absu at Steelfest or Beyond the Gates. And luckily, um, our mutual friend in Zemial, Vorskath, is a good friend with proscriptor of Absu, so I really hope to make Absu interview happen. It's one of the best USBM bands ever, and I hope that this time we can do proper Absu interview. 11 is asking my thoughts on the Black Dahlia murder. You mean the actual murder case or the band? Never listened much to the band. I remember it being quite okay, but not really my cup of tea, probably. Um, Yeah, True Rocks, your father hang a microphone up our TV and recorded Wasp. That's old school. Yeah. I can totally relate. I mean, we didn't do that, but we recorded those Wasp, Kiss, Twisted Sister songs on VHS, VCR, and we were fucking, fast forward and rewind, all the songs and, great stuff. And Fredo Santana is asking my favorite Pantera album. I'm always like, is it far beyond driven or is it vulgar display of power? And I'm thinking it must be vulgar display of power. Actually did my Pantera worst to best about 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Anyway, my Pantera worst to best video is already out on Rauta in case you want to check it out. And now I'm scrolling back to the backlog comments. Where did you ask the previous question? And the last one was Cecilia Taylor asking, black metal ice cream? Black metal ice cream. We do have licorice ice cream in Finland. Black and white, looking like a corpse paint. Licorice and ice cream. Now, a biological break. We're almost 2 hours in. People, wash your glasses, take a piss, and get another dose of alcohol or whatever you're drinking, tea, coffee, beer, whiskey. I'm going to get the last beer of the evening. Be right back in 1 minute. And now, people, we're entering the game with the most challenging beer of tonight. This is gonna be challenging one, and as you can see, very indie beer from this brewery, Mallassepät. The ones that I have had these two previous beers. So as you can see, this is a small batch beer, so it doesn't have even the proper label like those two ones. Just black and white sticker here. As you can see, this is a small batch series. They have quite a few ones of these. These might not be available for a long time. So people living in Finland and other places where you might get Mallassepät, these are the kind of stuff that probably get sold out. But it's worth always going through these kind of stuff. Simcoe Centennial. These are hops, which are going to give you them a little bit of taste. As you might have noticed with the previous beer, the double banger, that also had Simcoe. But unlike this is not a New England double IPA, Natepa, but Netipa. And now I'm even more puzzled. What the fuck is this supposed to be? Obviously, the NE means New England, so probably non-filtered kind of stuff. An IPA, well, that's India Pale Ale. So not a New England IPA means that unfiltered kind of a IPA, and a little bit different things. But Tipa, can you guess it? My guess it's a New England triple IPA. Now, if double IPAs are already stronger than your typical IPAs, meaning they're more hoppy, more bitter, well, as you can pretty much figure out, triple IPA is gonna be the double whacking in your mouth. I was comparing the previous double IPA or New England double IPA as war metal in your mouth. Now, if it's gonna be triple IPA with 10% of a beer, this is gonna knock my teeth out and make this really fucking challenging, and it's probably gonna get me a little bit drunk. Imagine 10% beer. The previous ones were 6.8% beers, 10% here. So this is gonna get me ruined. But let's see how it is. As you can see, this is once again very pale. It's almost gray. It's that pale. I mean, my glass is not the cleanest one anymore at this point. But here it is. This is a little bit more brown than the previous one, which was very, very pale. Obviously, camera sees this color a little bit different because of the lighting here. But the previous one was more pale, more yellowish, whereas this is a little bit brownish, kind of an orange tinge to it. So, yes, the smell is already. Man, this is gonna fuck me up. Oh, oh, quite a punch. Whew, what a time to feel alive. It's almost like Slayer is playing a gig in my mouth now. So strong, and you're not supposed to drink this with like one go. No way. And this type of highly alcoholic beer is obviously quite expensive in Finland. So, Slayer was asking, sorry, Slayer, I missed your question totally. Apologies. Slayer was asking, what do I think about Temple of Full Moon bands? Well, that's a rather underground thing. So, I mean, Temple of Full Moon bands are not all over the place. I haven't obviously heard most of them. I have heard some of them over the years. So, to cover it all is kind of a big question. In general, I love the raw end of black metal, and combining that with atmospheric parts is always interesting. But I can't say that I'm familiar with all of the bands. And about Clandestine Blaze slash Mikko Aspa interview. Well, I met Mikko Aspa a few weeks ago when he was at the Morgul slash Earn for 30 years and Vemid Angel gig. And I was once again reminding him of the interview possibility, and he was once again just nodding, really not saying no or yes, more like giving me the maybe. So since he haven't really denied the possibility of Clandestine Blaze interview, I guess it's theoretically possible. But really, I don't know when. But regarding about your questions about Temple of Full Moon, just please elaborate if you have some specific bands in your mind that you would like to hear more about it. Sorry for a delay, Slayer. And Fredo Santanas is asking a good question. 3 albums to bring in a bunker for the rest of End Times. That would be Wasp's second album, The Last Command. Then I obviously would bring the best album of all times, Slayer's Rain in Blood, and probably something more soothing. I'm thinking of Bathory's Hammerheart because that's so fucking epic. So one heavy metal, one thrash metal, and something more of epic nature. Treasury Rocks is asking any of my best 60s band. I don't have any favorites in 60s bands. And will there be more collection ABC videos? Yes, I'm already done, almost done with the letter D. You can see my record collection right there. Treasury Rocks, please pay attention. Where my finger is pointing, that is letter D with Destroyer 666. So we're gonna get close to letter E. Actually, around this red album right there, when my finger is pointing, is Enslaved Eld, if I'm not mistaken. So when I'm done with these albums right here, I'm pretty much done with D. So yeah, these take time because I'm only listening to my own collection when I'm done with the daily review albums. So now I'm going through Desolate Shrine albums and then Destroyer 666. And it's kind of a weird that letter D ends with D and E, like Destroyer. And then there is no like Do or Da or anything like that. So suddenly DE, and I was thinking, oh, there must be so much albums after DE. And suddenly it's letter E. So yeah, the ABC collection of my own albums will go on, but it will take some time. Okay, please once again tag me, Cecilia Taylor. Learn to tag me if you want a quicker answer. All right, now I will go back to reading the back scroll for more earlier questions. Fuck, this is strong beer. JC is asking if I'm going to Beyond the Gates next year. It really is very, very likely that I will go to Beyond the Gates. At least I'm putting some of my funds for Beyond the Gates. I already talked to my Norwegian cameraman Carl of Necrolast Productions that prepare for yourself for the next Rauta trip already and bringing Arto from Finland there as well. Because, like mentioned, Triptychon is playing Celtic Frost. Oh man, I want to see Celtic Frost live, and I wouldn't mind another conversation with Mister Celtic Frost himself. So let's see if I get to meet Dom G Warrior Ken, and then a bunch of other bands. Would be great to make King Diamond interview and all. Dude, I gotta say, yeah, power metal has some amazing musicians. That's very true, but musically doesn't really speak to me. But here it is, Rip Hellfire mentioning bands like Silly First Battery, Venom, Mayhem, King Diamond, Slayer, Blasphemy, different musically, blah blah blah. But black metal, yeah, we can talk about if they're black metal, but I also think that there are differences why all different genres are meant. Um, what else? Yeah, Marcus, when you were talking about, I get it that you're not supporting people that align with your morality or politically, whatever. Yeah, that totally. But it's this whole cancel culture is just getting fucking ridiculous. Yeah, sure, Roland. I mean, I get it. Germany has had so many problems, with the World War II. Like you said, Kiss logo censored, but then again, they also censored Cannibal Corpse because being too violent. Germany also censored Rotting Christ back in the 90s for its name. So Germany has always been canceling, and nowadays when people talk about cancel culture, back in the 90s, cancel culture was bigger even without internet. Like I said, Rotting Christ was cancelled only because of their name, and Cannibal Corpse were cancelled because of violent topics. Typo Negative got into problems because of carnivore ban. So basically, even acts like Peter Steele got into problems because they were flirting with dangerous teams. So yeah, Germany is known for getting things fucking canceling. And Gerald, yeah, Boys of Summer is a fucking nostalgic song, but there are others. Like This for Fears has a song called Shout. If it's fucking great song. And also love a lot of old Depeche Mode thing. That's just pushing the right buttons for me. Cameron is heading to see Azagal tonight in Baltimore. Oh, fuck, that's great news, Cameron. I hope you have a good time. Send my regards to the Azagal guys if you're seeing and talking to them. Marcos started to mention Peste Noir. I mean, I fucking dislike their show at Steelfest. Never, for that reason alone, I never wanted to listen to Peste Noir. Uh, that sucked so much live. And Scum Christ is seeing Azaghal in Philadelphia. Fucking great. Also, you Scum Christ, if you see Azaghal guys, send my regards. They're good friends. No, not close friends, but good guys nonetheless. Chessa, are you from England? You mentioned that you're English and your DNA is mostly Danish. I mean, it makes sense. Danish Vikings were, you know, doing something dirty work in England back in the days before it was UK. Oh, Chessa's mentioning old school band Motorhead, Saxon, Iron Maiden. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, now I'm getting scrolling the backlog. Oh yes, Camcross mentioned it's harder to discover bands with no internet. Yes, Headbangers Ball was like 3 hours I think a week. I remember recording Headbangers Ball, via classmate. He would bring me the tape. Then I would take to another friend with two VCR settings, copying the best of the best for a compilation tape. Finding new bands through that. I don't miss the early 90s for that matter, how hard it was to find new favorite bands. Like I was hearing Cannibal Corpse for the first time through Headbangers Ball. Imagine that. I even remember the song name, Staring Through the Eyes of the Dead. Eyes of the, I think it was Staring Through the Eyes of the Dead. Anyway, that's what my, I think, first Cannibal Corpse experience ever was. Yeah, Chesa, you mentioned that you learned black metal later 90s. Yeah, and I think it was Kerrang that mentioned Varg Euronymous situation. For me, it was kind of a lucky encounter. I was studying in a smaller town with something like 7,000 people, but the music store was really good. And there were, death metal and black metal CDs. And I remember browsing albums like Enslaved Frost. I was, you know, mystified by the back cover, like staring the album like this. Wow. With, songs like Loki and Fenris, the Viking themes. And I was like, already, like I mentioned earlier in the stream today, that was fascinated by the Viking stuff there, and I was figuring out how the music would be because I was a kid listening to Metallica, Suicidal Tendencies, Pantera, Sepultura, stuff like that, and then I was staring at these CDs mentioning these Viking themes, and I'm like, what are these guys? And took maybe a year or so, and then I was listening to bands like Marduk, Immortal, and I had so hard time really liking the scream and raspy vocals of black metal in the beginning. I remembered my first time when I was listening to black metal songs, I was like, I like the music because I was coming this background with Pantera and thrash metal and death metal, still newcomer to death metal, but nonetheless I was listening to them and I was fucking enjoying. I could enjoy growl vocals of death metal. I could enjoy the fucking grunting and shouting of death, thrash, heavy metal, or Pantera, whatever. But the shrieky, raspy, screamy stuff from black metal, I like Marduk. I don't like the vocals. It took the time to really, really, to understand why these vocals are great. And then I was a match made in hell. I was already anti-Christian before I got into black metal, and suddenly I found this metal music which was ideologically, like aligned with my lifestyle. I was like, I have hated Christianity. You guys are making metal music about anti-Christianity and all. I fucking love it. So it was like finding my Tinder match, if you get my metaphor here. Yeah, Northbound. That now that you mentioned 80s music, like Push It to the Limit, it's a fucking great song. Or that Burning Heart, for that matter. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 80s songs, even to the fucking classics like Eye of the Tigers and all that stuff. They are fucking great rock tunes from the 80s. Hylia is asking, do I check out the band Moonlight Sorcery? I think I have heard something from that, but didn't make a big impact on me. And Jessa, the reinventing the steel is pretty good, but can't beat, you know, uh, what it was. My favorite Pantera era, Far Beyond Driven and all. Oh, the morning I wake up dead was taking a badass comment was your glass and take a piss in it. Must feel great to be 17 years again. Yes, just a Rip Dimebag. He was such a fucking great guitarist. I mean, old school metalhead understand how fucking great. Sometimes we talk about at nightside rehearsal how great those guitar players are. Nowadays, guys don't understand, uh, what the fuck bands like Pantera was. Gerald, yeah, I remember that Phil Anselmo had Scour, and he also had Avon. Avon made big waves when it was announced. Suddenly, Fenris, Satyr, Phil Anselmo, and whoever the fuck the fourth guy was, they were supposed to do this supergroup black metal album, and what they had like two songs, three songs out. Too bad Avon could have really been the supergroup of all times. So I actually remember buying, I think it was Metal Hammer magazine in Greece back in 1999. I was there with my girlfriend back then, and I had to buy this magazine, all written in Greece. I didn't even understand a single word, but there was this compilation CD which had one Aben song, I think, and I had to buy it. And that song was good, but that band never happened, unfortunately. Yeah, Jess, I would love to come back to England. I've been to England a few times, and I would love to really, really do a little bit of rural countryside stuff and see some smaller villages. I've been to Scotland, I've been to Northern Ireland, I've been to Ireland, and what can I say? I love those islands. And people have always been nice, kind of a grumpy, which is not that far from being Finnish. But I mean, I would love to come to see UK for some bands and some great beers. So thank you, Chessa. I'll really think about it, but money on Rauta not really growing on the trees. And yeah, Gerald, Mick Osper would be fantastic interview. He is intelligent, he's smart, he's well-read guy. He has great understanding and knowledge about obscure music beyond metal, but of course in black metal, punk, uh, all kind of oi, noise, and all that stuff. I mean, he's a very, very, very knowledgeable guy. It would be great to feature him, but what can you do? And Cecilia Taylor is saying, like, drunk Jerry stream. Cecilia, trust me, we're not even nowhere near of me being drunk. You will know when I'm really fucking drunk. Finnish drunk is different than American drunk, I guess. Halia is asking, will we get to see Marty? I'm getting a notification in my earbud that we will see Marty when I'm going to that Metal Mayhem Mariehamn in 2 weeks, 28th of December. I think we will see Martti happening there. But yeah, to be honest, if I had the more possibilities, I would feature more Martti videos. I know some people dislike Martti, but that's just the beauty of it. Martti is like the impelled Nazarene of Rauta. So it's gonna be all middle fingers and fuck yous to people who don't care or care. Eric has asked if did I go to watch Heavy Reisu. I haven't even seen the first Heavy Reisu, Heavy Trip. I don't really go to movies. I'm more a TV show guys. And yeah, Jessa, you made a right point. Sex Pistols were also canceled back in the days. That's why I can respect bands like Sex Pistols and other punk bands. Which reminds me, I should talk about punk and black metal connection. Oh, sorry, people. I remember. I promised to answer your questions when you tagged me. So sorry, I was reading back scroll, so it's easy for me to miss these comments. So now I'm gonna get back to the tag comments. Rydan666 is asking, "Hail Rauta, Rauta." Live interviews on the Venus Black Metal retrospectives. Just wanted to say I used some clips from your interviews in my latest video. How do you feel about people using your work? Right on. We're here black metal. We're doing underground music. This is not commercial using, so feel free. Spread the fucking love. Spread the words. If you can find my video clips worth using, reusing, recycling, whatever, do your best. Have them, enjoy them. Just please tag Rauta so people will find the channel. But I mean, just feel free to use them. Fredo Santanas is asking, where is the danger in rock and roll in 2024? Everywhere or non-existent? This is a topic I could talk for hours about. I think the nowadays danger in rock and roll is definitely not in sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but it's becoming this political thing. Like people are like woke or like just don't do that shit, or people are like left wing, right wing, and I'm like, who gives a fuck? I always get that people want to talk about politics, especially when things are in turmoil in the United States. Trump now being re-elected, and people are afraid of so many things and how it will affect the whole world and all that stuff. But to be honest, I don't think black metal, death metal, thrash metal, or metal in general is that much affected. But whatever the powers might be, so people who are like thinking about Trump this, Trump that, yeah, it's true for a lot of things. But when it comes to metal, I don't think that's not really related. So where is the danger in metal in 2024 or 2025 for that matter? I think it's very, very much the same. It's booze, substances, that is drugs and booze. It's going to be part of the Me Too's. It's going to be part of the cancellations for various regions, dangerous topics like we discussed already, cannibal corpses and rotting Christs and carnivores being canceled back in the days for having some kind of obscene creations, lyrics, covers, opinions by the artists themselves. So I think, in a way, I'm kind of enjoying when bands are being canceled, and at the same time, it annoys me. At the age, the era of free speech, the freedom of expression, the freedom to think, the freedom to do what the fuck you want in terms of expression. It's art. But at the same time, I'm like, it's kind of a cool that metal is seen so dangerous that you can't see death metal and thrash metal and black metal in the big mainstream news, because there will be those cannibal corpse stories. There will be these black metal bands with atrocious takes on religions and all that stuff. So I'm enjoying that metal is seeing dangers and not like you cannot take that to your parties. You cannot take that to your like Congress. You cannot take it to your independence parties with your presidents and Finns and shit. So yeah, I enjoy that metal is kind of a seeing dangers and not liked, and it's gonna be, uh, you know, people are gonna make kind of a equation marks like, okay, metal means danger. Metal means people who are not, suited to look like they're for their jobs. The tattoos, the spikes, the chains, the smelly leather, the looks. So I'm kind of divided. So while I am annoyed that bands are being canceled for ridiculous takes, like this band made some dangerous lyrics 25 years ago, they must be criminals. Like, what the fuck, man? But at the same time, I'm not looking forward to, hearing, say, Cannibal Corpse or Satanic War Master being played at a fucking NFL game. You can actually hear Metallica and ACDC and things like that being played at, Super Bowl or NFL game in general. You can hear extreme metal in a way, but doesn't really call that extreme when you hear like, I don't know, a part of Seek and Destroy riff for a few seconds in an NFL match. People don't even realize that used to be extreme metal. It's not like, you're talking about some necropedophilia lyrics by Cannibal Corpse back in the days, in that sense. You're just hearing a little bit of a tune of the riff. If you would hear, like, I don't know, Enter Sandman riff, people go, yeah, heavy metal. I used to listen to metal at high school as well. It's not the fucking same thing as hearing, Catharian life code being played or any kind of that anti-Christian, you know, lyrics in that sense. It's not really the same as hearing some Marduk, not to mention Go to Moon, being played there. So I'm 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 in a crossroads, for the lack of better words, in a sense. So while I like that metal is seeing dangers, I at the same time loathe that this freedom of expression is being, torn away from us. But take it as you will. I mean, it's not like the world is gonna stop because they're gonna say like you cannot play this metal at all. It will just go to underground. I mean, see all the cancellations that are now taking place in various parts of the world. Like I said, Horna being cancelled in Canada with Messe des Morts. Marduk was very close to getting cancelled there, and Serpent Shrine couldn't play in certain parts of United States, and now Imbel Nazarene wasn't able to play in Eindhoven. What does it mean? It will these bands will go more underground. There are always like say some NSBM events happening in various cities, and those locations are not being public. They cannot announce them and say like, "Hey, we played a show. How about it?" Fuck you. Like recently, there were a couple of unannounced clandestine blaze shows. It was like done in secrecy, and you can do it. You can get away with it, and people are gonna be, blaming about it. They're gonna be bitching about it. What can you do? Underground is gonna go underground. So there's that. All right, let's get more with your questions. That was answering about the danger in rock and roll in 2024. Um, Jojo Rocks is asking if I like old Finnish bands like Hurriganes or Hanoi Rocks. To be honest, I never got into Hurriganes. I know they're famous, obviously, and they have their own recognition in Finland. But I don't know. For me, it was just too basic rock and roll for Finland. Hanoi Rocks have some good tunes, but I never got into that. Maybe we was too young in that sense. Jay-Z was asking what games are I playing currently. Well, now that I've done finally with Hogwarts and Space Marine 2 earlier this fall, I'm now continuing Star Wars Online. I'm not getting Stalker 2 at this moment. I'm waiting for it to be patched and all that stuff. And besides, my backlog is way too big. I really haven't been able to play that much lately because my time has been taken by Rauta and band also. And also, I've been lately just a single parent. So my time has been, with my kid and all, but it will change eventually. Cecilia Taylor is asking, why do black metal bands like Depeche Mode so much? For me, it's very simple. Depeche Mode is dark. Depeche Mode is so much darker than a lot of metal bands, to be honest. There's so many good, darker songs by Depeche Mode that it's kind of easy to get into the mood of just darkness. Darkness is one of the things that I like in music, and some people don't get it. I have these discussions that some people are like, "I don't get you. Why you don't like dark music? What? Why would the darkness be so important to you?" And like, just you don't get it. You don't know me in person. You're not gonna understand why this darkness is so important because I am socially outgoing person and I feel comfortable with a lot of different kind of people. But when you really dig deep into my head, you have to understand that darkness is always there. And that's why I have a soft spot for darkness. That darkness kind of is more important than being heavy. So if there's a dark music which is pop and there's heavy music which is just, metal, heavy. So like power metal uplifting. I mean, it's heavier than pop music because it's metal, but it's also uplifting because it's so cheesy and happy. And I'm like, I want this dark music. So this darkness weighs more. But I have to say, there are lots of black metal bands which are trying to be dark and they're kind of atmospheric. And then I'm like, I'd rather go for Slayer because Slayer is both heavier and more intense and also darker than a lot of black metal bands. So there's that. And yeah, just talking about Headbangers Ball, we are really showing our age, but Headbangers Ball was great time. Actually, I have to mention it right now. In 2008, Finnish MTV, that is music television, was looking for a host for Finnish edition of Headbangers Ball, and I actually auctioned for it. I went to have a job interview. Imagine this: me, bald head, not exactly cute face. I went to a job interview to get a chance to host Finnish Headbangers Ball. I didn't get the job, as you can figure out. I had to try because I felt I had already done years and years, uh, you know, both in bands. My first band started in 1994, and I had been already been this black metal and death metal, thrash metal review guy for so many years. I figured out I could just, see if I got a chance because I felt I could really, do a show where I interview these people, with different metal bands, and I get to pick those, you know, metal music bands, with their music videos and all. But like I said, I didn't get the job, and the rest is history. Jojo Rocks mentioned it was so much fun to find the new bands back in the days. Yes, it was, but it's also so so expensive. Cecilia Taylor is asking, what is my favorite animated film, anime or regular? I never watched a single anime movie, so I'm not a big fan of animated stuff. Hello, David Amling, and greetings from Thuringia. So Germany is presented here. Nice, welcome. Plastic Money is asking, by the way, a bit new here, but am I funeral doom as well? Uh, I'm not big guy in funeral doom. I do like some death doom stuff, but most funeral doom are boring to me. Then again, there are bands which are a little bit better in the genre, like I guess Skepticism. But then again, there are so many boring bands which are just like, let's make heavy and let's make our 20-minute song count. And I'm like, fuck. No, John Red Rocks, I'm not a beautiful guy. I mean, I know it. Thank you, Cecilia Taylor, for your comments about MTV host. Would have been fun job, I guess. Frodo is saying Fenris from Doctron would be perfect in The Simpsons. I guess I have to agree with that. Um, yeah, Phil. What can I say? I'm biased to say that. I mean, obviously, Rauta is much smaller, much more underground than MTV, but I would have wanted to do my part for metal in mainstream with Headbangers Ball and all. I mean, I grew up with Vanessa Warwick. She was such an inspiration for kids like us. Back then, by the way, nobody was questioning why there is woman with colored hair talking to all these bands, metal guys. Vanessa Warwick in Europe doing Headbangers Ball and taking all us to the good bands back in the day. She was wonderful. She was just, there was no question. Nobody would, blink an eye if it was she or he or whatever. I'm just saying, like nowadays, people think that metal is done by other guys, guys playing in a band, guys hosting this and that. Um, Once upon a time, a few years ago, I found this YouTube channel. Really gorgeous gal was hosting the channel, but her reviews sucked. I was like, if only we could combine her face because she was a fucking doll, like a perfect face. Her doll face with my more experience and knowledge of the metal, and we would make a fucking perfect match because her beautiful face would track in more people, and my knowledge was obviously a little bit more than this young gal, but you cannot never always have the both. So you have to have my ugly face, not the doll face, in order to get more knowledge, or you can go the other way. Yeah, Phil, I don't know how much Pinfield it is, but yeah, I mean, I don't have any grudges against MTV or Headbangers Ball. I could, do both Rauta and Headbangers Ball. I could do it easily. Good night, Ginger Rocks. Take care and prepare for your next parcel. GamerWorld.net is asking, have I ever cried listening to a good song? No, I'm not big on crying. I'm not that emotional guy. Hello, Music of Destruction. Welcome to the stream. Fredo Santana's asking three favorite non-metal bands. They would probably be dark ambient ones. But I'm trying to think outside of the box, and I would say Pink Floyd, Depeche Mode, and Turbo Negro. But probably I would have to listen to at least three different dark ambient acts. And now I'm gonna read back scroll once again. Um, so I was answering which games I have worked or played. Dukes was asking, do I like Endesma? I remember it being quite okay, but even if it was Trondr Nefas playing band, it wasn't Urgehal level of stuff. October Falls, GamerWord.net was asking if I have ever heard October Falls. I remember heard it back in the days. I think it was quite good, if an emotional band, but never made big impact. I kind of remember the name, but I don't remember very well their music. What else? Oh, Phil the Kill was asking, make a good comment. If did get old spending in dollars on the cassette and not even knowing what the sounded like, can I imagine that now with the prices of everything? Yeah, word, brother. It was crazy back in the days. You would spend a lot of money on music without knowing how it would sound, and you would still buy it. So we were so clueless compared to the easiness of nowadays when people just like click YouTube or Spotify. Oh, it's this crap. I'm not gonna buy it. So yeah. Back in the days, it was so much harder. Oh yeah, Fredo, it was Killjoy from Necrophagia. It was the fourth guy in Avon. Such a great super crew. Too bad. Rest in peace, Killjoy. Necrophagia is one of the best old school death metal bands from US. Viking Crown from Phil Anselmo wasn't, in my opinion, too good. Avon was better than Viking Crown and Scour, but yeah. Eric always asking me if I'm gonna have Kalsari Kannit, which means having drunk underwear on. No, we have band rehearsals tomorrow and also gym time. Nord Hellscream, salutations from Greece. Hello, Greece. Greek people are the best, the nicest people on earth I've ever got to encounter. There's something magical with Greek people. They're so great. Marcus, yeah, you're right about it, that Antifa and cancel culture are continuing the great work of 90s Christian parent groups. It's actually very true. Nowadays, kids don't realize there's kind of a pattern to it. Rob Hellfire loves the smell of leather, especially the Rob, Rob taking a fart in it. Eric is asking if I'm planning to see Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. Quite likely, but I don't know. Go to much movies these days. I'm actually gonna start Rings of Power with the wife. Thank you, Ryan. Rydan666 for linking the full interviews to your channel. Thank you so much. So once again, feel free to spread the love. Uh, how do you say Pampani? What did Pampane gameplay is asking? How do you make your thumbnail montages? I'm a graphic designer. No, I have help from Chris C, who is a graphic designer who helps me with these thumbnails for free. So without his help, my thumbnails would suck big time. Hello, Brian Mons, still here. Eric OJ is asking, what's my favorite band with a woman singer? Um, I gotta say, I don't know. I like Asa Graum quite a lot. Great band with female singer. Then again, Ladytron, if we're talking about outside metal, is great as well. Nightwish is great with female vocals. So it's kind of hard to say which is my favorite. I guess I'm torn between Asagram and Nightwish. This is the best comment so far. Mod cries in his mama's basement all the time. Yeah, crying is the best. Cameron, it's cool if you get to see Serpent Shrine as well, because I was told they were canceled in some of the places in the United States. Hey, yeah, just a Debbie Harry thing, the blondie one. Yeah, that was Chris, my thumbnail guy, having fun with the cover thing, and he was figuring out if people would even realize it's Debbie Harry and my face put into one and all. Music of Destruction. What are you talking about? People on the internet are making assumptions. Who is doing what exactly now? Wanna share a story? Fredo is on a on a streak here. Three favorite horror movies of all times. Now I'm not big horror movie fan because most horror movies just bore the shit out of me. But it's easy to mention my number one, The Thing, my favorite horror movie of all times. The second, most likely, Alien. But now, after that, it gets harder because, like I said, most horror movies are boring. Maybe The Shining. While I was never horrified by the given movie, I think The Shining really has the really grim, horrible atmosphere in it. So maybe those three could be my top three. Music of Destruction. Simple answer to your question, how I got to interview Hellfire Death Cult, was that they were playing at Turku Saatanalla event in 2018. Now Rauta was very new one back in the days, less than a year one old, but I already knew the guys who are organizing the event, and it was one of the bands that came from far away to play in Finland. So I figured this might be it. One of my golden rules, so to say, with the Rauta interviews is that if some band comes very far away, do it right now when you can do the interview, because it's not likely you will have another shot, not in foreseeable future anyway. So that's why I wanted to do Hellfire Death Cult when I had the chance, and zero regrets. Harley's what Marduk do? Well, it's more like Marduk just do what they do. They play black metal. They have flirted with war themes, Second World War, and all that stuff. So people were like, okay, Marduk gotta be some Nazis because they featured German tank on the cover of the album Victoria, and because they mentioned some of the war stories in their lyrics. It's not like Marduk was, really doing anything nasty, but people are, how to say, eager to jump into conclusions. So easier to say what Marduk didn't do than what Marduk did. But you know how it goes. People jump into conclusions. What else? Yeah, first Resident Evil 1. Now, Lucas, that you mentioned, first Resident Evil movie was a really good one in terms of horror. No, Cecilia Taylor. I haven't seen the TV remake of neither of these two. David, I haven't heard the Döds Engel one, but I know Trish is great. If we're talking about the same Trish, that is. Phil, did you mean the body slamming when there was someone, climbing on the stage and Mortus was like basically slamming the body? Did you mean that incident or some other one? Oh yeah, there was this case last year. I probably shouldn't mention it because no, people are getting cancelled. Last year, when the ex Marduk bass player uh, was kicked out of the band, he was terminated. Like, that's it. He went to do the right wing salute on stage, and people were thinking that he was getting fired from Marduk because he made the salutes. But I was told already by an insider, friend of mine, and he was already out of the band by that time. And that gig when he did the salute was his last show. And what I was told that Morgan and the rest of the Marduk guys were actually trying to help the guy to, somewhat stay sober or whatever, you know. But it didn't work out, so he was fired from Marduk, and it seems he decided to go crazy on stage, do the fucking stupid salute on stage when it was his last show. Kind of like giving a middle finger to the band, putting it into trouble. What a fucking asshole trick to do to your old bandmates. But this is it. What it has. What do you have in terms of extreme metal? So extreme metal is never done by only people who are rational and good workers in the big business. You know how it goes. What do you have in metal music in general? People are more or less fucked in their heads, so you can expect all kind of crazy stuff to happen. That's something that people who are so busy to cancel shit don't even realize, that without the crazy people within, we wouldn't even fucking have this music. It's not like normal dads and moms do this kind of music in the first place. So now I said it. Yeah, Phil. I know what you mean. David, I'm not sure if that is the same Trish who is in Eastwind, if it's the one who played in Asagral. Cecilia Taylor, I don't know about the health CEO thing, band case. Cannot really comment. Yeah, just I totally get it. I mean, I understand Mortu's doing the thing. I mean, one thing, if there is a place that is somewhat not holy, but like unrestricted, I mean restricted area, it's the stage. You're not supposed to fucking go there. So I totally understand why Mortus did what he did. Like Lucas already said, stage belongs to the band and not anybody else. Yeah, but of course, punk bands have different set of rules. Um, it's hard to compare, punk bands who are more like pro-life than pro-death in that sense. Their bands, I could imagine in like power metal bands inviting the whole fucking audience, come to the stage, let's sing that we are the world. Uh, but it's not like that for everybody. And I doubt even people like good Christians like Dave Mustaine would fucking love if, fans stormed on the stage, really. So to be honest, it's not just the black metal bands that would do it. I think a lot of bands would just call security guys. But Mortus from Marduk decided like, hey, I can fucking take care of that by myself. So, you know, and I think like Phil the Kill Heel mentioned that shouldn't be an issue if they don't touch the instruments. But already with the Archcode interview I did in September, there was this case, where this One heavy woman destroyed a pedal, by the band by entering the stage. So it can be a security issue. Obviously, a lot of people would just say, okay, you know, but take security, they carry it. But imagine it for yourself. Americans, if every anybody should understand it, like you're trespassing really. So there's that. So it's not that simple really, because things get complicated. I'm just reading some of the comments online here, in case you're wondering. Getting back to the stream comments, I think we're supposed to finish soon. It's gonna be almost 3 hours in with 3 beers. So make your last comments, please. Oh yeah, David, it's nice that Trish is still active. I used to be in touch with Trish a few years ago. Then she vanished from Facebook, had some personal issues and all whatnot. But I can't say anything bad about Trish. Had only good, contact with her. So nice to hear that Trish is doing live with Iswind. Yeah, Chesa, indeed, the world is definitely more dangerous place than the days of Ramones and the Sex Pistols. I mean, I think if anything at all proved the point, it was the Dimeback thing. I think, I mean, people should have probably learned from the Beatles days. When there were enough crazy people to shoot John Lennon dead, people should probably figure out, yeah, maybe it's not safe to be a fucking rock and roll star. Imagine Beatles being cancelled. The most famous rock and roll band ever is getting cancelled by shot dead. Now let that sink in for a bit before you start complaining nowadays cancel problems. At least you're not shot dead. So Dimebacks and John Lennon's are like, so you people are getting cancelled. At least you get to live, motherfuckers. These are, I gotta say, a lot of those bands like Night Shall Drape Us. I mean, it's just yet another side project. In my opinion, there are not too many new Finnish black metal bands who are that great. I mean, there are bands that are definitely gonna grow and be more important, but I don't know. A lot of those major players, in a way, are some kind of side projects, such as this. So I guess we will have to wait and see. I'm not sure if you know Malum from my home city, which are pretty good. They're not that old, so you might know them or you might not. But they have a few albums out, so bands like that are promising. Or Flag with two G's, Flagg. My ex bandmate, my good friend, it's his band making third album. So Flag is definitely something you might want to check out if you haven't so far. Yeah, feel the guilt. I mean, You could never imagine from a sumo wrestler woman being the danger. No, Lucas, no time for Kosken Korva today. I think once I'm done with the stream, it's already 1 a.m. in the morning. I think I will watch one episode of Silo. And this is a good time to promote my secondary channel, which is now uh, op- uh, back active. I was about to say now open. Um, I'm typing here something wrong. Anyway, I'm giving you. In case you want to see something else, what I'm doing on the side with Rauta is this. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be for everybody, but the Rauta Beyond has some of my takes on TV series nowadays and some stupid reaction videos. I'm saying that it's stupid because I think reaction videos, by their very definition, is stupid. But if you wanna check it out, if you're bored or whatever, and or if you just can't get enough of my stupid opinions, take a look at it. Uh, it's gonna be non-metallic, non-musical, no, not musical, but non-metallic take on things because I keep the metallic stuff on route anyway. Yeah, Cecilia. I mean, to each his own. Some even have sex without condoms, so you're feel free to live the dangerous life and all. Yeah, Fredo, I mean, why not? And I can't say that there's wrong with that kind of output, but let's be honest about it. Those Seth Putnams or Gigi Allens, they wouldn't have been so much, important in terms of musical quality. Thank you, Chesa. It has been nice to have you here with good questions and good comments and all. It's my pleasure to do these streams with you guys with beers and good questions and all. I mean, if there are no good questions, no good comments, why would I bother to do these streams? All right, Cecilia, great that you have them. And no, my last empty beer glass is empty. I'm not gonna get a new one today. 3 beers, strong beers, mind you, is more than enough. So toss in your final comments, and then we will have the next stream in January, most likely early January, but not before I've gotten out my top 10 albums listings. All right, David, it's good to hear that you see so Horna, always a solid live band and all that stuff. No, Phil. Uh, Usually, I try to have these streams on the very first Saturday of any given month. But like I said, I was supposed to have this stream already last weekend, the 7th of December. But I was at a punk gig last weekend, so I had to postpone it. But I predict. Okay, next the first Saturday on January's 4th. Let me look at my calendar here. No, I think the first weekend in January, I will do my Metal Mayhem Mariehamn a recap, and the 5th of January is going to be Sunday, which means I hope to get my album of the year listing out. So I'm guessing I haven't decided anything yet, but I'm guessing the next stream should be out on January 11th. So the second weekend of this of January, most likely. Yeah. That's the plan anyway. Yes, Margus, very, very much. The Tyrannosaurus Rex thing. Yes, Cecilia Taylor, you're a good secretary. Can I hire you as a secretary with the no page wage at all? Anyway, thank you so much, people, having the stream time with me. Like I said, like me or cancel me. There's no way between. And all that good time. People, enjoy a good weekend and stay tuned for more videos. There won't be more interviews in 2024 by Rauta anymore. So next interviews hopefully out in January, assuming that it Metal Mayhem Mari Hamne I will get to do at one or two. But that it is. And thank you so much for your time and enjoy your Yule, Joulu, Christmas, or whatever you're celebrating. Take care and all that stuff. And feel free to come to Rauta Discord for daily chats. Now, off you go, people. Enjoy your weekend. Don't waste your time with me. Listen to some good metal and be naughty, be well, and create your Christmas presents. Happy holidays, people.